signs you could have stayed. It's only over when the day is done. I never knew you was a runner, yeah. I mistook you for a son. It don't matter what we think when it's all over. 'Cause this is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah. This is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah.
Archie, is it fun?
Fun.
Fun.
After me. Ready? Happy?
Happy.
New?
New?
New.
Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through color glass, time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shape my smile.
Okay, today is July 1st, 2022. It is 2:37 a.m. This is my back end. New subscribers, welcome. 2,106 subscribers. Yesterday, I think could it be 8:30 or 9 p.m. I put this video out. I recorded it in the morning and I quickly edited and then put it out. It's two videos that I recorded yesterday, but I edited the second one first and uploaded, and YouTube didn't give me any problem, so I put it live right away, and only 259 people see it so far. I'll remind some people on my community board that it's out, because that's not my usual time that I make videos live. Alright, so a lot to go through. Let's go on Twitter, see what is going on. Oh, Zuzu's 4th birthday. All right, I'll respond to that later. Let me check my notifications, see what's going on. Okay, don't want to scare the kids. You know what, let me focus on my list. Today the kids have doctor's appointment. I made it and I was able to get the appointment right away, so I'm gonna do that. All right, so this is that. Is Grandpa dressed as a wizard for an upcoming movie? And what is the news? Okay, don't want to scare the kids now. Don't you know Pa is holding news for Billy? He took it off of him just before the parade. Could come and handy for late nights with emotional support. Homila, safe word, Diana. I think the news is actually a livery color. Members of King's Privy Council wore them centuries ago to signify their status. What in the name? These people love to play dress up. Alright. Here, you have to head to the... Okay. I don't know. You know what? Let me not waste time on this. Let's go to the next one. Alright, so there's this. Charles wants America to know some things, it seems. Okay, Buckingham Palace has revealed that it has completed a review into handling of the allegations that Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, bullied royal staff, but declined to share the results of the probe. Let's listen. 3 minutes. Oh wow, it was that long?
Calculated smear
Buckingham Palace says it's not going to release the results of an investigation into the handling of bullying claims made against Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Live to London, Royals correspondent Max Foster. Max.
I mean, they're really milking that topic, because there's a lot of nonsense that's going on in the UK. There's the money bag issue with Charles. What else? There's other things that's going on. They're just milking this so people don't talk about them. And you know, if they had something on Meghan, oh my God, they would have a field day with it. A field day. All right, but let's listen to their nonsense.
Hi there. So why so tight-lipped by the palace?
Well, this goes back to a Times article last year, which said that 2 members of staff at Kensington Palace were forced out effectively by the Duchess's behaviour. Someone.
Oh, so that's the guy, that's Max Foster. Okay, so they're sending him to water down the nonsense that they were so happy to report to the world.
Royal household about someone who was, at the time at least, a very senior member of the royal family. Meghan was married to the 6th in line to the throne, and you know, this is very serious indeed. But one other thing that I've learned is that whilst this bullying claim was submitted by their then chief communications officer, the head of comms at Kensington Palace, the staff involved didn't know that it had been submitted, and when they found out, they asked for it to be rescinded. So we've got quite a difficult story here about a bullying complaint.
But now all of a sudden they're sending him, so that's the Max Foster. All right, but let's listen.
Someone else had their position undermined. The Duchess, and you know, this is what the Sussexes said at the time, it's a calculated smear campaign. So they said there was nothing in it, but the palace did actually follow up. Now, it didn't investigate the allegations themselves. It investigated the handling of the investigation into the allegations, if that makes sense. So they brought in a law firm to do that, and we were told yesterday that that process is now complete, but we're not going to be seeing any of it. And what they're doing, Robin, is citing confidentiality of the people involved.
Scobie discussed some of that reporting with Access Hollywood back in September.
The allegations of bullying that Meghan faced in the workplace, in the royal workplace at the palace, somewhat complex, because we talk about allegations and accusations. We've heard the word bullying thrown around. In fact, even the palace put that on a press statement when they announced they were launching an internal investigation. What we haven't heard are any examples or anecdotes to back up these claims. And, you know, when we spoke to many of the sources that helped us throughout this book, people who are for and some who are even not particularly on the side of the Sussexes, no one was able to give any information that supported or backed up those claims of bullying. And when we dug into it even further, we found out that the individual who had made the claims of bullying in the workplace at the palace was sort of speaking on behalf of a few others in the workplace. This was a concerned boss. He was their private secretary to the couple and to William and Kate, who had written to the Human Resources Department to air his concerns over how staff were feeling. Now, what we detail in the book, and I've already gone into detail with in the past as well, was that 2 of these individuals, when they heard that that complaint was made, immediately went to their boss and asked for the information to be rescinded. They wanted to take back any allegations of bullying. So that leaves a few question marks over what these bullying allegations are. We've yet to hear actually what happened. No one's come forward with that information, and the palace say that the investigation continues. We may not hear anything until next year. I would imagine it's something that the couple would like to put behind them. I know that they were very supportive of an investigation going ahead because it helps them get to the bottom of the matter as well. But so far, there's very little evidence to back it up.
And also the fact that it was privately funded, this report. No public money went into it, so they don't have to reveal it. But a bit of a backlash here because...
What?
So they don't have to reveal it, but a bit of a backlash here.
Privately funded because it was privately funded. I don't understand this. Privately funded, because of that, this is not gonna make public. But they were more than happy to echo it everywhere around the world.
These bullying allegations are. We've yet to hear actually what happened. No one's come forward with that information. We may not hear anything until next year. But so far, there's very little evidence to back it up.
I don't understand this. I hope Meghan follow up with this because they smear her name throughout the world. I don't know. But it's not me, it's her. So let's see how she handled this.
You know, some of the tabloid newspapers regard this as you know, them hiding the contents of this report for some reason. But the palace
I
says
think so too.
differently.
So what becomes clear about it, if anything, is it about the HR process?
We're just doing it the same way that we would want if we were employees of it, right? So to treat people the way you want to be treated, that is always how I've moved. I used to work on a TV series for 7 years. Right. That was a crew of over 200 people. Right? So the way that you are when you're with a huge environment is no different than you are when you're with a small company.
Is there an HR process in a palace?
Yeah, so they have a big HR department. They handled all of this, and they're saying there are recommendations that come out of it, and they've putting them into place. Procedures have changed.
I still see myself as the same that I've always been, right? I've always been a hard worker. I have always, you know, the people that know me well, and some of them are here today, I've just always been the same. And so that the perception might be different, but if you are really grounded in who you are, you know, in your ethics and your values, and I don't know, I show up in the same way that I always have.
So they obviously have learned something from this experience. They're just not giving us any detail about what that might be.
So for an institution that's been in existence for decades, well, not only decades, centuries, and all of a sudden this is when they learn something?
I still see myself as the same that I've always been, right? I've always been a hard worker. I have always, you know, the people that know me well, and some of them are here today, I've just always been the same. And so I think Melody's point is a really strong one in that the perception might be different, but if you are really grounded in who you are, you know, in your ethics and your values, and I don't know, I show up in the same way that I always have.
It's your character that matters most. Because my father used to say to me when I was younger, he used to say to both William and I, well, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you. It's your character that matters most. That doesn't make sense. Just because you suffered, that doesn't mean that your kids have to suffer.
So what kind of a nonsense that's going on over there? I don't know. If I was Meghan, I'll follow through. I'll follow through. So who are the people they're trying to shield their name? Probably, you know, the one person that I think did something to Meghan and made Meghan put that person in its place. And they don't want to put his name out because it's not too good for him. Or that particular person. But anyway.
So it's pretty unclear, but you know, they weren't looking at the specific bullying allegations, so that's the difficult thing here.
What? They were not looking specifically at bullying allegation, but that was the whole point. But let me hear again. I'm going to rewind this slightly. Okay.
About what that might be. So it's pretty unclear, but you know, they weren't looking at the specific bullying allegations, so
that's what he says.
The difficult thing here. They're just literally looking at procedures.
The allegations of bullying that Meghan faced in the workplace, in the royal workplace at the palace, somewhat complex because we talk about allegations and accusations. We've heard the word bullying thrown around. In fact, even the palace put that on a press statement when they announced they were launching an internal investigation. What we haven't heard are any examples or anecdotes to back up these claims. And what we haven't heard are any examples or anecdotes to back up these claims. And, you know, when we spoke to many of the sources that helped us throughout this book, people who are for and some who are even not particularly on the side of the Sussexes, no one was able to give any information that supported or backed up those claims of bullying. And when we dug into it even further, we found out that the individual who had made the claims of bullying in the workplace at the palace was sort of speaking on behalf of a few others in the workplace. This was a concerned boss. He was their private secretary to the couple and to William and Kate, who had written to the Human Resources Department to air his concerns over how staff were feeling.
What's been, as we know, is that the Mail on Sunday had the ruling against them in February, and they were then appealing it. So it was lawyers from the Mail on Sunday who would have approached Jason Naff, knowing that these emails and messages existed. That would have been the point, unless, I mean, the most likely outcome is that Jason obviously would have then gone to William and Kate. And clearly he has cooperated. He would not have cooperated. With those lawyers without their definite knowledge.
Now, what we detail in the book, and I've already gone into detail with in the past as well, was that two of these individuals, when they heard that that complaint was made, immediately went to their boss and asked for the information to be rescinded. They wanted to take back any allegations of bullying. So that leaves a few question marks over what these bullying allegations are. We've yet to hear actually what happened. No one's come forward with that information, and the palace say that the investigation continues. We may not hear anything until next year. I would imagine it's something that the couple would like to put behind them. I know that they were very supportive of an investigation going ahead because it helps them get to the bottom of the matter as well. But so far, there's very little evidence. To back it up.
And how those complaints were handled at the time.
Okay, and then any response from the Sussexes?
No, they haven't given us any response. I have spoken to them, but they're not commenting about this. They see it as a palace matter.
What? They didn't say it. Wait a second, this guy is freaking BSing people because the Sussexes don't have contact with them. So you have, let me see if I hear correctly, but let's go back. He spoke with them, but they haven't said anything.
Okay, and then any response from the Sussexes?
No, they haven't given us any response. I have spoken to them, but they're not commenting about this. They see it as a palace matter.
Reveal anything more that you spoke to them about?
Can't really. I mean, it's just such a sensitive topic, isn't it, for them? And effectively, what's happened here is it's no longer a Sussex issue. It wasn't an investigation into Meghan. It was an investigation into Buckingham Palace procedures.
It wasn't. Wait a second, this guy is freaking BSing. I'm glad I didn't listen to it before because otherwise I would not have all of this to say. The whole thing was about the bullying. So what the heck is this? It wasn't about the Sussexes. It wasn't about the bullying. Let me hear it again.
Such a sensitive topic, isn't it, for them? And effectively what's happened here is it's no longer a Sussex issue. It wasn't an investigation into Meghan. It was an investigation into Buckingham Palace procedures. So the Sussexes feel they shouldn't actually have a say on that because it's not part of it anymore.
Okay. All this was this going on while...
How accurate or inaccurate were those stories about her treatment of staff in 2018?
Those stories were false.
The Duchess's lawyer spoke to me with Meghan's permission.
This narrative that no one could work for the Duchess of Sussex, that she was too difficult at demanding a boss, and that everyone had to leave. It's just not true.
But so far, there's very little evidence.
They were.
I know I'm not buying this.
In country for the Jubilee.
No, this was because these are the images from St Paul's where they, this was their first big royal engagement since they left.
Yes, it's me. And you guys are angry about it. Oh my God, I make y'all feel that. Well, this will not take long. Well, I just wanted to pop up here and show y'all how I'm doing. I'm doing great. I'm looking great. I'm feeling great, you know. I'm over here very booked and busy while you bitches over here are still looking raggedy and not doing shit. Wow. But anyway, I just want to let y'all know I'm not going anywhere. So talk your shit, you shitholes. You can't defeat a bad bitch. You just cannot do that. I rise above that. Ew. So I just want to say, hey, and that I'm here to stay, and you're going to be mad every day. Success.
What I did learn, though, quite interestingly, was that they had a meeting with Prince Charles when they were over, and he met Lilibet, their baby, for the very first time. Hadn't seen Archie either for a very long time. Sorry, they haven't met Lilibet at all, and Prince Charles hasn't met Archie for a while. They all met up together, and it went really well. Very positive vibes coming from Prince Charles about that. Very excited to meet his grandchild for the first time.
For some, what is it, yesterday, in one of the videos that I made yesterday, I don't think I've edited yet the first one, because the second one is already uploaded and made live. In one of those tweets that I read, the squad share a screenshot of an article that Charles was very, 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 I think it's 3 veries, you know, that very excited to meet the Sussexes and all of this. But for a guy who did not pick up his son's phone call, took out his security, and somebody, I don't know if it's him, but someone told where about and all of this, for someone like that to do this to his son, and then all of a sudden to very, 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 you know, these people, they only know of themselves. That's it. They only know of themselves. Anyone else who's going through any sort of pain, emotionally, physically, they don't care, because they themselves never really experienced any of this. So let me finish listening to this BS.
So that was quite interesting. So when we look at that, we're probably thinking, okay, if there is any tension remaining, it's with William as opposed to Charles, but haven't spoken to the Sussexes about that.
I would not want to play you in the...
This part, I believe that the thing is, it's William. The problem is William. There he is, he said, because they don't want to meet with them.
Game of who has bigger name contacts in their cell phone.
What?
You ever played that game?
I wish I could just reveal it all to you.
Yeah,
But, you know, the way this works is that, you know,
exactly.
to get some information, you have the, you know, what I find is you get the best information by having very open, free and fair, you know, conversations, and then we sort of reach some sort of agreement about what I can take away from that. But
all right.
It's
And
improving,
that
I
is the
think.
job. Max, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. CNN anchor.
That's just BS, but let's see here. I respond, just hop on Twitter and wondering what did the royal family had today to distract us from. This is the police investigation thing. Alright, the royal family gonna milk that bullying investigation to its fullest because they've been doing so many shady dealings. Anything else? The UK? That was my response. Okay, I have listened to this and be stated it was an investigation on procedures, not Meghan. Did I hit? Oh my God, that's what I thought too. The whole thing was because of the bullying allegation, and all of a sudden it's not about her. So I'm not the only one who point this out. Okay, that had always been the case, as I have stated many times, though I always seems to fall on deaf ears. The tabloid created the narrative that she was being investigated, and they left it to friends and foes on social media to do the rest. Let's see here. Okay, I have also stated the same many times. The palace acknowledged early on there's no investigation of Meghan because there was no complaint against her to investigate. Let's see here. A palace aide said, quote, if anyone wants to bring up a specific complaint or tensions and discuss where they came from, that is fine, but the focus of the review will be on how it was handled. Aide have admitted that it was, quote, clearly concerning, and quote, the bullying complaints were not investigated properly at the time. A source close to the Sussexes imply this was because there was nothing of substance to pursue, saying, quote, if these emails and all of this was flying around at the time and they are only doing this because of the revelation and the times, then that speaks volume. The thing is that, what is it? The Sussexes sent their lawyers. Meghan sent her lawyers and wants to know everything. So once they realize Meghan is not effing around with them, so they calm themselves down. That's what it is. Otherwise, they'll run wild with this. Okay, responsible for that. Now, what was missing from the reporting was that the two individuals that this particular boss had worried were on the receiving end of bullying. When they found out that their names had been put in an email to HR, they asked for everything to be rescinded. That I was aware. Okay, because there's a video of it where the person said once they find out that their name, the same thing that I just read, the person asked for their name to be rescinded. Okay, and then want to go ahead with any kind of formal complaint, but the coverage made it look as if there was a formal complaint made. And I find it really interesting that this just sat somewhere for almost 3 years now. Here we are at probably one of the most important moments in Harry and Meghan's post-royal lives, with a story that only seems to be trying to undermine the credibility or the character of Meghan in a quiet, ugly way. Okay, so that's that. The squad have how do you call this? The squad have receipt. All right, let's see this one. The Duke of Cornwall opened the Daily Mail Chalk Valley History Festival. So that's that. There's that Wathenmore, whatever his name here. So cozy Camilla has been a party to the invisible contract for decades. Yep, she knows how to play the game, and this is why she got that position. And she even made the Queen to consent her to be Queen Consort. She's been in that background for decades. She knows how to play the game.
He says that your husband renewed his relationship with Mrs. Camilla Parker Bowles. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I was. But I wasn't in a position to do anything about it.
The princess was about to be even more indiscreet, offhandedly revealing the story of a private showdown she'd had with the Queen over Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman Diana thought had stolen her husband.
She felt that there was a basic conspiracy inside the royal family, amongst friends, courtiers, bodyguards, valets, to deceive her about the presence of Camilla in her life.
Prince Charles expected his butler to keep visits to Camilla a secret from the princess.
Paul just turned around to him and said, well, are you expecting me to lie for you, Your Royal Highness? And Prince Charles said, well, yes. Yes, I am.
Which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
So it was a canker that ate away at her.
By 1985, Diana told Sutherland she had had enough.
So I went to the top lady.
The top lady, otherwise known as Her Majesty. It was a bold move. According to Morton, Diana was in awe of her mother-in-law and terrified of her as well. But if Diana had hoped to get support from the Queen, she was sorely disappointed. According to the princess, the Queen turned a cold shoulder to her appeal for help. The princess described an emotional scene inside the walls of Buckingham Palace.
And I was sobbing, and I said, what do I do? I'm coming to you, what do I do? And she said, I don't know what you should do. John was hopeless. And that was it. That was help. So I didn't go back to her again for help. Because I don't go back again if I don't get it the first time right. And so over the years, Diana never talks to me. I never know what's going on. Silly girl.
Which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
The campaign was, in that point, was being successful. But it did surprise the people who were causing the grief. It did surprise them when I took myself out of the game.
What evidence did you have that their relationship was continuing even though you were married?
A woman's instinct is a very good one.
Prince Charles expected his butler to keep visits to Camilla a secret from the princess.
Paul just turned around to him and said, well, are you expecting me to lie for you, Your Royal Highness? And Prince Charles said, well, yes. Yes, I am. And went into this histrionics about being the King of England, the future King of England, the Prince of Wales, and you will lie, stamping his feet, and then threw this book in Paul's direction.
Which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
Is that all?
Well, obviously I had knowledge of it. Well, from people who minded and cared about our marriage.
It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said.
Well, from people who minded and cared about our marriage.
which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
Well, from people who minded and cared about our marriage.
Which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
And if they ever sat in that throne, that crown is gonna be a freaking headache on their head. What the what? It's not an allegation against Meghan. You speak with forked tongue, Max. The headlines clearly stated Meghan was accused of bullying staff. Okay, let's see here. Headlines are not facts. Okay, Buckingham Palace said from day one that it intended to investigate its HR practice. The media turned that into an investigation of Meghan. Okay, so I guess I got it wrong as well. There's that. True. Okay. Karen Cambridge is out in the cold. Okay, oh, this was interesting. Charles is letting it be known that William and Kate are the problem, not him. LOL. That is true. So on brand for Charles. Yes, Willie is awful, but I've never seen a man with a lesser fatherly instinct to protect than Charles. That is true. This is it right here. Max actually said the tension is from KP. Yep, I also heard that as well. And did he does MF drop quote any remaining tension or with William. So Charles doesn't want to be part of the rift with the Sussex's narrative anymore. Because he knows Meghan doesn't play. That's the thing. And Harry is not playing that game anymore. He tried with Harry with the cash for honor, trying to throw him under the bus, and then Harry returned that bus back to him and said, I'm not going under the bus, you're going under the bus, because I warn you about this guy. He's a funny character. Don't make deal with him, so don't blame me for this nonsense. All right, so he knows he can't play with both of them anymore. So he's like, don't blame me. This was probably his last chance to say, okay, I'm not messing with you guys anymore. So any nonsense that's going on, it's the brother. All right, let me read some few more and move on. Okay, the palace is trying to get themselves out of a very tiny corner. That is very clear. The initial announcement was an investigation into bullying allegation. When and why did the substance of the investigation change? We want to know. Okay, it changed the moment that Meghan responded. Yep, that's exactly that. Once Meghan sent her lawyer, they changed the narrative. That's exactly that.
How accurate or inaccurate were those stories about her treatment of staff in 2018?
Those stories were false.
The Duchess's lawyer spoke to me with Meghan's permission.
This narrative that no one could work for the Duchess of Sussex, that she was too difficult at demanding a boss, and that everyone had to leave, is just not true.
But so far, there's very little evidence.
I agree with Meghan here. It changed the moment that Meghan responded, and I've been screaming this into the wind for months. Yep, it changes. That's exactly that. Once Meghan sent her lawyer and said, I want to know whatever you find, let me know so I could take the proper steps. And then all of a sudden, they changed. That's exactly that. I agree with Meghan here. Okay, so they acknowledge that BP used Meghan's name when investigating didn't involve her at all, but processes abolished the monarchy. Let's see here. Their design smear campaign was a massive failure, a feeble attempt at a public lynching. Yep, of Meghan. That's exactly that. Okay, and they decided to publicly announce investigation into palace procedure 3 days before the O interview. This was a blatant attempt at smearing Meghan. Yep. What is it? The blueprint have been learned. Meghan already know. Well, not just Meghan. Meghan is a smart woman. Harry, okay? Harry was from the inside. He knows how they work. He knows. So they can't mess with them. Okay? And Meghan is not a dum-dum. She knows. She saw the pattern. She learned it from herself. She didn't need Harry to teach her that. So she learned the pattern and said, anything you're gonna do, I wanna know. So the palace back off. Alright, because their whole plan all along, like I said, their whole plan was to smear their name as much as possible so they could look very trashy, so nobody wants to do business with them.
Harry and Meghan are incredibly marketable. I'd call them the new young Obamas. They're going to make an ungodly amount of money, and you know what? They literally could become billionaires over the next 20 years. If either of them came on Shark Tank, I wouldn't even wait for them to pitch. I'd be like, I'm in, whatever you want, yes, because they are so marketable. It would be so easy to develop products and projects for them, with them, and around them, it'd be yes, yes. Can you hook it up?
It's your character that matters most.
Okay, so they don't have money. When they don't have money, they can't really live their life the way that they want to, because you need money to live. So they wanted the Sussexes to call back to them and beg. All right, when they realize they're not begging, so they try back to their blueprint, smear their name, smear their name, smear their name. And then Meghan was like, you gonna smear my name? Let me know what you find, because I have receipt. But anyway, let me leave that. Max Foster knows nothing about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That's exactly that. Max was like, quote, I can't tell you that, end quote, and it's not the Sussexes matter, my thoughts. Someone spoke to a spokesperson and wants to make sure he doesn't burn his bridge. She was trying Max and he was not being led. Yep, that's exactly that. All the point that I saw on that interview, the squad saw the same thing. All right, let's move on. There's more comment, but I have more tweets to share with you. Alright, there's this. The British royal family using Meghan again so people don't focus on million taxpayers' money they spent on a pandemic. Okay, everyone's using Prince Harry, Meghan, and the babies as a distraction. And the people always fall for it, effing always. Okay, money carrying and sack from Arab to Charles. So this is a response to the money bag. Do I have... So that's set with this tweet. Maybe I saw this was very interesting. Maybe, and I put it on my list, but looks like it was on the wrong order. This one should have come first, but I'm done with the other tweet. Let's see here. UK to pay new £27.3 million subsidy to royal family as taxpayers face cost of living squeeze. Alright, so there's that again. The royal annual account says spending up, oh my god, spending up 53% in just 4 years, and a forecast for declining revenue from the Crown estate that helps pay their bills. 53%. Whew. There's me here. 2 people likes it. Okay, I can't complain if the UK citizen have no problem with it. Okay, this is why I like Princess Anne. She's living her best life with no regrets. People are paying her to live it. She's living it without trying to pretend. Hey, if the people who can't pay for heat, food, gas, etc. are okay, then I'm okay too. Oops. I pressed something by mistake, so the thing is still recording. Yeah, so live your best life. That's the thing. The people are not complaining. The ones who are giving their tax money to them, so they're not complaining. So what the hell? Okay, this is a joke, right? Nope, if only right. I'm just glad this is the photo they have used. Okay, how else will skull and egg, was it the bone and egg, keep up with a new mansion repairs? And that is over and above the cost of renovating home number 4. And an elderly woman who rides transit during the day because she can't afford heat. That's the thing. Unbelievable, but that's what the Brits are happy paying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, with one exception, they were not happy about paying out money with half black women in the mix. That's the thing. Okay, imagine ridiculous. Shame, 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 shame all over. Okay, abolish the monarchy and Meghan Markle is the problem. Hey, the UK are not complaining. Let it be. They love their, I don't know, they love their tax money to these people, but hey, let it be. And then you have some of them doing underground payment and all of that. So what can I say? I can't complain. Alright, so there's this one here, the UK. Spot on. London Mayor Sadiq Khan insists that Britain should rejoin the single market, branding leaving the EU the quote biggest self-harm ever done to a country, end quote. He's right as usual. Okay, 42nd. So that's the guy who met with what's the other one? Coat hanger. I don't know. Is it? No. When he came, there's an article, a screenshot that I read from a tweet where he came, I think in California, invited the Sussexes to something and they declined. And the tweet says instead Harry invited him to his home or something. I don't know if it was true, but I remember reading. So that's this guy, I think. All right, so let's listen.
Speaking of which, you referred to the single market in the context of Northern Ireland. Should the Labour Party at a national level be agitating for rejoining the single market?
I don't speak for the National Labour Party.
So you're not short of opinion.
But I believe we should. Spot on. Worse, that's the biggest. The biggest piece of self-inflicted harm ever done to a country leaving the European Union.
Sound like that?
But from what I'm hearing, the people thinks it's the best thing ever because the one who made it happen are profiting off of it. So, hey, that's the thing.
You sound like that loudmouth on the...
But the thing is, what the UK just did, the Brexit, it would have worked. It would have worked to their benefit if in the 2020 election had turned the way they had hoped for Trump. Because what I think was going to happen, I've said it in other videos, the UK and the US were going to team up and do business with each other, and then, you know, whatever, like they were going to be the two main market, this kind of thing. Okay, so they were going to exclude other countries of whatever export import kind of thing they were going to do. But what happened, the 2020 election did not put Trump in power. A lot of people went to vote and prevent him from getting to remain in power. If that did happen, I think the UK, whatever plan that they had set, would have worked. Okay, because when you look at when Trump was in power, it's the same thing that is going on in the UK. Okay, they give their buddies their certain contract and all of that. Right, you see all the Republicans just shut their mouth, let nonsense happen. And this was the scariest thing that was happening in the US. And people went out and vote to the fullest, where they cannot how do you call it, tamper with the election. And this is why we have the January 6th committee going on. Like I've said in another video, I don't listen to it. Maybe occasionally I look at a headline here and there, but I saw the pattern. So I'm just hoping to see the end of it. But right now it's just lip services that's happening. But I saw all of this going on. All right, let's read some of the comments. Guy Hofstad, honestly, would we be welcomed back with open arms? Would it really be that easy? Even as for my staunch pro-EU position, I am starting to think that the Tories are doing irreversible damage to the relationship between the UK and EU. I would love to be one. Hey, that was the goal. That was the goal. And the worst thing is, in my humble opinion, they're getting paid to do that by certain someone. Okay, because that particular person did not want the EU to expand. But thank God it's not going its way, as the EU is expanded. It's not EU, not the European Union. What's the other thing? The alliance. When one country goes to war, all of them join. I forgot the name of that alliance, but more people is joining in. Or not more people, more countries is joining in. They didn't want the I can't think of the term. When I'm editing, I put it on the screen. Alright, so yeah, they're paying them to destroy the country. The same thing that was happening in the US. Okay, I doubted it will happen because the last few years have been too disruptive. The EU states will not allow it, maybe in 50 years. The thing is that people are not complaining. The people just taking it in, and then they're voting for these people again. Once they throw the race card into their mix, they forgot about all of their problem. Brexiteers are not ready yet. They are still in the denial phase of grief. Who cares? Their numbers started falling within a year of EU ref. Older voters die, younger ones came out of age, people changed their minds, etc., etc. We've been majority remained since 2017. Today, businesses struggling, gone under, people realizing everyone had enough. What is it? There was one particular company in the UK that I mentioned. What's his name? He had a clothing company. I mentioned him before. He does into fitness kind of thing. He used to be a pizza delivery person, and he created that how do you call this, that clothing brand out of his mom's basement. Then it expanded, it became a huge company. I wonder how it's doing, because it was a UK based company, so I don't know if it's still growing, because now shipping things out of the UK is gonna be a huge problem, unless if he changed its headquarters out of the UK and bring it to the US, because the last time I was following them before the pandemic, they were looking for a place to do to open up in the US. I think it was somewhere in Colorado or something like that, to make their stuff. So unless if they shift their headquarters out of the UK, bring it to the US and be able to ship stuff out, but they create a huge how will I say, a fitness center. So they were expanding so quickly. What's the name of that freaking company? It was a if you watching this, just look at the screen. I probably will put the name of that company when I'm editing, but I haven't followed. But anyway, one man, a mayor of a city, and you think that's spot on. What about if he had called for the end of the EU? Will he still be spot on? There is no need to rejoin the single market, nor is there the desire to do so. Maybe not from Lee and his 12 mates. And the thing is that he did say he's speaking for himself. He's not speaking for everybody. Okay, them, and he thought that it was the biggest mistake that they did, self-inflicted. So he said for himself. He was speaking for himself. Them why, and they should be welcomed with open arms. All old grudge should be put. Nah, when you do things like that and then you're disrespecting the countries like that, you can't keep up a promise you made and do all this nonsense. People should turn their backs. No, this is the UK kind of a blueprint. They've been doing this type of tactics for a very long time. So you can't just, take them with open arms. Okay, then why they should be welcomed with open arms. All old grudges should be put aside to welcome this great nation back. And look at this, they're still putting themselves there. Well, they have to glorify themselves, otherwise who will? All right, back into the EU family. On Ukraine, they've been nothing less than a role model. What? We're not coming back, so forget that idea. Okay. We miss the EU guy. Sorry about the embarrassing Tories. Most of us want to rejoin these days. Great thought, but not realistic. Maybe in 50 years. Yeah, but you guys were glorifying it. I don't know. I did spoke about it. I mentioned other videos that Byline mentioned, and I remember talking about there's a community in Spain, Brits stays in. I spoke about it. They, how do you call this? They dehumanize some of the people who work for them. They don't learn the language, and then they glorify themselves and all of that, and then they still want to stay in the country. But after the EU, things had to change where they had to leave, and all of a sudden they worrying and all of that. But anyway, whatever they are, and they put themselves into it because they were so happy to get themselves out of there, but they never see the ripple effect of their choice. All right, next week.